The Bible is a treasure trove of stories that have shaped cultures, inspired countless generations, and provided guidance through the ages. While many of us are familiar with the stories of Noah's Ark, David and Goliath, and the Exodus from Egypt, there are lesser-known tales tucked within the pages of this sacred text that are equally profound and thought-provoking. In this video, we'll explore 7 Bible stories you may not have heard of, each offering unique insights into the human experience, faith, and God's interaction with His creation. 1. The mysterious Melchizedek. Melchizedek is one of the most intriguing figures in the Bible, and yet his story is often overshadowed by more prominent narratives. Appearing in just 3 verses in Genesis, Melchizedek is introduced as the king of Salem and a priest of the Most High God. After Abraham's victorious battle to rescue his nephew Lot, Melchizedek meets him, brings out bread and wine, and blesses him. In response, Abraham gives Melchizedek 1/10 of all the spoils. What makes Melchizedek particularly mysterious is that he appears out of nowhere with no recorded genealogy, and he disappears just as suddenly. This brief but significant encounter has puzzled scholars and theologians for centuries. The New Testament book of Hebrews references Melchizedek, describing Jesus Christ as a high priest in the order of Melchizedek, emphasizing the eternal nature of Christ's priesthood. This story challenges us to consider the ways in which God's plans and purposes are often revealed in unexpected ways, and how figures that seem peripheral in the narrative can have a profound impact on our understanding of faith. 2. The daughters of Zelophehad. In a time when women had little to no legal rights, the story of the daughters of Zelophehad stands out as a remarkable example of courage and justice in the Bible. Zelophehad, a member of the tribe of Manasseh, died without leaving any sons. According to the prevailing inheritance laws, his property would have been transferred to male relatives, leaving his 5 daughters, Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah, without any inheritance. However, these women did something extraordinary. They approached Moses, Eleazar the priest, and the entire assembly of Israel to argue their case. They respectfully pointed out that their father's name and legacy would vanish if they were denied the right to inherit his land simply because they were women. Moses brought their case before God, and God responded in their favor, commanding that the daughters should indeed inherit their father's property. The story of the daughters of Zelophehad is a powerful reminder of the importance of justice, equity, and the courage to challenge unjust traditions. It also shows how God's law made provisions for fairness and the protection of family legacy, even within a patriarchal society. 3. Ehud, the left-handed judge. The story of Ehud is a tale of cunning, bravery, and divine deliverance. The Israelites had fallen into sin, and as a result, God allowed them to be oppressed by Eglon, the king of Moab, for 18 years. In their distress, the Israelites cried out to God for deliverance, and God raised up Ehud. Ehud's left-handedness is a crucial detail in the story. In a time when being right-handed was the norm, his left-handedness gave him a unique advantage. Ehud crafted a double-edged sword about a cubit long and concealed it under his clothing on his right thigh, an unusual position that would not be easily detected by those expecting a weapon to be on the left side. When Ehud brought tribute to King Eglon, he requested a private audience. Once alone with the king, Ehud used his left hand to draw the sword and assassinate Eglon, who was described as a very fat man. Ehud locked the doors of the room behind him and made his escape. Afterward, he rallied the Israelites and led them to defeat the Moabites, securing 80 years of peace for Israel. This story illustrates how God can use what might seem like a disadvantage, such as being left-handed in a predominantly right-handed world, as a means of delivering His people. 4. Jael and the defeat of Sisera. In the book of Judges, the story of Jael is a gripping narrative of courage and unexpected deliverance. Sisera, the commander of the Canaanite army, was fleeing after his forces were defeated by the Israelites under the leadership of Deborah and Barak. Exhausted and desperate for refuge, Sisera sought shelter in the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, who was allied with King Jabin of Hazor, Sisera's master. Jael welcomed Sisera into her tent, offered him milk, and covered him with a blanket, making him feel safe and secure. However, as Sisera fell into a deep sleep, Jael took a tent peg and a hammer and drove the peg through Sisera's temple, killing him instantly. Her actions were in line with the prophecy given by Deborah that Sisera would fall at the hands of a woman. It also serves as a reminder that God's plans often unfold in ways that defy human expectations, with deliverance coming from the most unexpected places. 5. The prophet Micaiah's bold stand. Micaiah is a prophet who stood alone in the face of overwhelming opposition. During the reign of King Ahab of Israel and King Jehoshaphat of Judah, the two kings planned to go to war against Ramoth-Gilead. Ahab's prophets unanimously predicted success, telling the king exactly what he wanted to hear. However, Jehoshaphat, sensing something was amiss, asked if there was another prophet who could inquire of the Lord. Ahab reluctantly mentioned Micaiah, a prophet who never prophesied anything favorable about him. When Micaiah was summoned, he initially mimicked the other prophets, telling Ahab he would be victorious. However, Ahab, sensing sarcasm, demanded the truth. Micaiah then revealed a vision of Israel scattered on the mountains like sheep without a shepherd, a clear indication that Ahab would be killed in battle. Despite being pressured and even struck by one of the false prophets, Micaiah stood firm in his message from God. It serves as a reminder that standing for God's truth often comes with a cost, but it is a stand worth taking. 6. Uzzah and the Ark of the Covenant. The story of Uzzah is a somber reminder of the holiness of God and the need for reverence in His presence. King David decided to bring the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, a joyous occasion for all of Israel. The Ark, symbolizing God's presence, was placed on a new cart driven by Uzzah and his brother Ahio. However, as the cart moved along, the oxen stumbled, causing the Ark to sway. Out of what seemed like a natural reaction, Uzzah reached out to steady the Ark. However, touching the Ark was strictly forbidden, as it was considered holy. Immediately, God's anger burned against Uzzah, and he was struck dead on the spot. This sudden and severe judgment shocked David and led him to pause the procession, leaving the Ark in the house of Obed-Edom for 3 months. 7. The unyielding loyalty of Ittai the Gittite. Ittai the Gittite is a lesser-known figure in the Bible who demonstrated extraordinary loyalty to King David during one of the most turbulent times in David's life. When David's son Absalom rebelled and seized the throne, David was forced to flee Jerusalem with his loyal followers. Among them was Ittai, a foreigner from Gath who had only recently joined David's service. Recognizing the danger ahead, David urged Ittai to return to his home, offering him the opportunity to stay out of the conflict and avoid unnecessary risk. But Ittai refused to abandon David, declaring that wherever the king went, whether to life or death, he would follow. Touched by Ittai's devotion, David accepted his loyalty, and Ittai became a key leader in the battle against Absalom's forces. Ittai's actions remind us that true loyalty is tested in times of adversity, and that standing by those we are committed to, even in difficult circumstances, is a mark of integrity and faith. These 7 stories may not be as well known as some of the more famous biblical narratives, but they are rich with lessons and insights that are just as powerful and relevant today. They remind us that the Bible is not just a collection of ancient stories, but a living document filled with wisdom that speaks to every aspect of our lives. Whether it's the mysterious priesthood of Melchizedek, the courage of the daughters of Zelophehad, or the unwavering loyalty of Ittai the Gittite, each of these stories has something unique to teach us about faith, obedience, and the character of God.